the trailer just came off. I've become quite an expert at helping people move over the years. I've moved quite a bit myself, and I just have this uncanny ability to pack things in a U-Haul truck very, very well. Weight distribution and, using different pieces of furniture to support other pieces. And one time when I moved out of my apartment, I got the entire apartment into a 6x12 U-Haul trailer because I got the dimensions and I laid out a piece of graph paper and measured everything and did a Tetris thing and laid it out such that I had everything in there with literally not an inch to spare. That time was my first experience with a U-Haul trailer, and they have the weirdest attachments. So when you put the tongue onto the ball, you have to screw this square thing down to tighten it against the ball. Every other commercial trailer has a totally reasonable design where you just go like that to lock it down. Well, no, U-Haul has this thing where you do this forever and you cut your finger, and even when you think it's tight, it's not, because it stops turning, but then you have to take a hammer and turn it some more, and then it loosens it up. I mean, their stuff isn't maintained very well, so it's just you never know when it's tight. A charity that I'm involved with and volunteer for asked for help moving their office from one location to another. And some moving company was going to charge them $5,000 to do it. I'm like, that's silly. Listen, I help out with youth group. I'll just recruit those boys. They don't have to work. I'll come out. We'll get a U-Haul trailer. We'll just make this happen. Needless to say, my boys failed me on that, and two of them showed up. Really, one of them was there for the whole day. I went to U-Haul to pick up the trailer to initiate this move. And of course, in true U-Haul fashion, they had 2 employees there and 8 people looking to rent stuff. I grab the trailer, I go. We get everything moved over to the office. Probably took 4 trips in the trailer, but it was done. The problem was they had to take a bunch of stuff to the storage facility because they were remodeling their new offices and they weren't ready to move everything. We were spent. There was no way we were finishing that day. So I came back the next day with the trailer. And of course, it was just me then. So I had just about had it with moving. But I loaded up the trailer, and thankfully it was only one trip, but it was about a 40-minute drive to the storage facility. So I get down to the storage facility, unload everything, pack it in, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm spent. I've had it. I go to take the trailer back, and I stop at Jimmy John's. I'd never been to Jimmy John's before, but I had always heard the commercials about freaky fast subs. They are not kidding. I ordered a tuna sub, and by the time I was done telling them that I didn't like tomatoes, it was already done, and they were asking for my credit card. I mean, this was ridiculous. But I think that only served to make me in more of a hurry because it had just gone so smoothly. I grabbed my sub, got back in my truck, and left, and I had a green light leaving at this big intersection. So I'm like, yep, freaky fast. Okay, I'm getting the light. And it turned yellow as I'm going in, so yellow means accelerate. But the problem was that the driveway was like this, and then there was a big crown in the road. So I took it at probably 25 miles an hour. And I was like, yeah, this might not be great for the trailer. And that was an understatement. As I went over the crown, it bounced. The trailer just came off my truck. I was like, oh crap, this is a bad day. So thankfully, I don't know how, when it came off, I think I hit the brakes. And so the trailer actually, instead of continuing to go, came underneath my truck and got lodged. The trailer was still being towed by my vehicle. And so I pulled into a parking lot right there and went back to assess the damage. Now I'm thinking the whole tailgate of my truck will be bashed in and all that. And I went back and I'm looking, I'm like, there's not a friggin' scratch on it. How did that happen? I saw the back of the trailer come right into my vehicle. And the weird thing is the safety chains had come unhooked, which I've never seen happen. I don't know why or how that could happen, but I guess it was just a perfect comedy of errors. That thing could have just kept going through the intersection and bashed into somebody's car. But what had prevented it is when I had hit the brakes, the tongue of the trailer had come underneath my car and actually gotten lodged under the spare tire. So it was being pulled along by the friction of the spare tire. It's like, that is awful and fantastic at the same time. So there was this huge dip in the parking lot. So I drove forward just enough to raise the rear end of my vehicle so I could get the trailer dislodged. So I got it dislodged, pulled it back, and then backed up again. But then, of course, I had to just lift the front of the trailer up because I couldn't, crank the lift down or anything because it was sitting on the ground. So I got it back up, got it attached to my car. I know that the thing probably wasn't tightened all the way onto the ball because even if you go over a crazy bump, your trailer should never come unattached. So I was like, I'm going to make extra sure that this thing is cranked down with this little stupid square handle that gives you no leverage. So I'm going down the highway and I get on a ramp from one highway to another and I go over just like this little bump and the trailer comes undone again. I'm like, what in the heck? Now, of course, I'm going 60 miles an hour around a corner at this point with it attached by the chains. So it's doing this, and I'm trying to maintain control of the trailer to not have everything go haywire. And, trying to drift a car where everything is on the same chassis is one thing. Trying to keep a trailer from sliding out when it's attached by chains is a whole nother ball game that even the Mexican Stig was not trained for. So I get it stopped by the side of the road, but the problem is where I'm stopped, there's two highways merging like this, and I'm just in like the V where they merge. So I've got tractor trailers coming around a blind corner at 50 plus miles an hour, and I'm just there. This time, interestingly, the trailer brake had engaged. The previous time it didn't. But this trailer emergency brake was this massive handle that I could not get down to save my life. And I'm literally like up against the bumper of my car, both feet, trying to get this thing back down so I could hook it up again. Because, with the brake engaged, I can't move the trailer. And I could not get it to save my life. Both of my fancy LL Bean boots, which are supposed to last a lifetime, both of the rubber soles disintegrated while I was trying to do this. It was pouring rain. And I'm between a trailer and my vehicle while cars are coming from each direction. I'm just like, this is it. This is how I'm going to meet my savior, is trying to fix this dang trailer. So I finally called the State Farm safety whatever things that they come by and help you out. They were incredibly helpful. Super nice. The guy came up and he was like this 6'6", really built black guy. And he looks at the e-brake thing and he's just like, and flips it down. I'm exaggerating a little bit to make me look weak. He did have to use his legs, but it was easy for him. So he got it down, we got it hooked up, and I got at least over to the actual side of the highway where I was not in imminent danger of being annihilated. So I called U-Haul and I'm just like, come get your dang trailer. Something's wrong with it. It won't stay on my truck. About half an hour later or so, they showed up, and it was the same two guys that were there that morning, and they were the only two people there, so I can imagine they were not happy about coming out to get it. So, of course, I got the lecture about, not hooking it up properly and this and that, and after a while, I think I realized that, it probably was user error, but I was still going to blame the poor design of the square tightener thingy because it is really terrible. But it probably was my fault because it just wasn't attached all the way, because that never should have happened. They may or may not have put my name on some kind of a list of, this guy's an arrogant jerk who thinks he knows how to use trailers but doesn't. He's going to call you to come rescue the trailer on the side of the road when everything goes wrong. But I haven't rented from U-Haul since then. I don't plan to. And I guess I'll never find out whether or not my name is on that blacklist, but I guess being on the Porsche blacklist is good enough for now.
Going somewhere in a hurry, ma'am? Let me explain your options. Never mind. I got this.
TheTicketClinic.com